I've been thinking a lot lately about these different relationship structures and how our society is tailor-made only to sustain one. And that's been a cause of a lot of problems in our society because it fosters dependency on each other. It makes it very difficult for someone to be independent or an independent person. Because even the economy is set up, around these two-person sets. And if it weren't, if equal respect was given to the single parent, as is given to these sort of nuclear family sets, I think we would have a lot less problems with poverty in this country. But this vlog is about me here. And the set that I have found myself to be the most comfortable in. The happiest I've ever been is when I have lived with a platonic female friend. I'm a straight woman. And, those situations, those living situations have been very satisfying for me, especially when that female friend has children. And so it's not like, and then I don't feel any pressure to have kids. I don't feel it anyway, but I mean, it's almost like a parenting role that I take on. And I could see myself growing old with a family like that. A platonic female friend and maybe, her kids or some kids. Maybe. The kids, I could take them or leave them. That sounded bad. Kids are not real, I'm not driven to raise children. And so we have our solid friendship, a friendship that is based on very real, very solid things. And then, we have our boyfriends, And some people would say, well, that's the way it is when you're young, you're in college and, you have a roommate and blah, blah. But I don't think so. I think that's a relationship structure that needs to be looked at. Why is it that our society only acknowledges someone as a parent if they are a love interest of the person who has the children? To these kids that I lived with, I felt like they were my kids at a point. Why couldn't they be? And part of that has to do with the homophobia in this country. But even so, let's look at that. Say that shit is squashed and gay couples are allowed to marry and allowed to adopt. Well, they're still talking about a couple. And I think as a platonic female friend of the woman that I live with and her kids, I don't think I would be able to adopt those kids as a second parent. And I think I should. And then you have your boyfriends. And, in this day and age, there's a lot of divorce. And things don't last like they used to. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. The thing that's bad about it is that our society is set up to where it makes it difficult on people. And I kind of think it's very natural for people to come in and out of our lives. And I think when people stay with someone because they feel like they have to, that can be very oppressive. But there's also something else. I am a piece of clothes. I'm not necessarily a monogamous person. I see myself as someone who, if I had my way, I would be in a sort of what some might call a poly relationship, kind of sort of, you know, to have this female sort of community, women that live together and raise their kids, and sort of have the men visit that. And you have your romances, and you have to acknowledge, I think another thing that needs to be taught in schools when it comes to sex education is you know, what oxytocin is and how it affects your body and your emotions. Oxytocin is this chemical that's released in your brain. I think it's in your brain, that when a woman gives birth and nurses her child, that oxytocin chemical is released in her body, and it makes her that chemical actually makes you feel bonded to that being. But oxytocin is also released during orgasm. And for a time, during that nesting time, it makes you feel bonded to that man. That's why, you hear people say, after 3 years, that shit dies down. Well, a lot of that is probably because the oxytocin levels in your body don't do to you what they once did. So it makes you wonder how much of that first love and feeling in love and all of that stuff, and just all of that, how much of that is just chemicals. And we're in a society that denies that. They want to keep it all romanticized. But what is that doing for us? And yeah, I also don't necessarily believe in one partner relationships. I know that I can love more than one person at a time. And I don't see why I should not. It's just this whole way of thinking about relationships as ownership, part ownership. And I think the way our society is structured, it fosters that in people, that sense of territorialness. But I don't want someone to love me because I'm their territory, And so, this is the discussion about polyamory that I've been wanting to have. But haven't really known how to approach. I'm not a monogamous person. And because I live in a society, especially here in America, that only really acknowledges the legitimacy of monogamy, I'll probably spend the rest of my life alone because I'm not happy in monogamy. Not for very long. I don't know, just a lot of random thoughts, and this goddamn cat is meowing at the fucking porch door again. I can't send Diddles to go babysit her because she's already laying there next to her. So, yeah, lots of different ideas in this video. You know, what particular set do you feel is a satisfying set for you? Because a satisfying set for me, like I said, is me living with a platonic female friend and us caring for the kids, and then our romantic male love interests, or even female. I could live with a lesbian and feel this way, but you know, visiting us. And you know, what are your thoughts on polyamory? And polyamory, it's, I know I'm going to hear a lot of this. Polyamory is not cheating. Cheating is lying, and it's directly connected to lying. So people who are polyamorous, for one, you have to be brutally honest with yourself about what you want, what you're capable of, what your boundaries are. You have to be an excellent communicator, and you have to be honest with your partner. You know, and so when these things are discussed and agreed upon, then when you do have an intimate experience with somebody else, it's not cheating because there's no lying. It's just a different structure. It's just a different structure. So, yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on these different structures. We be a bunch of free-loving hippies around here.